Peace of wellness, beautiful souls, magnificent beings. It is my position that prevention is always better than cure, but sometimes the cure is necessary. So we must examine those cures. We're talking about being born compromised. And I would say up to 95% of those of us who have been born in the past 60 years are and have been genetically compromised. So allow us to look at some of this gene editing, and then we'll come back and break down why I say what I say. So allow her to speak right here.
A few years ago, with my colleague Emmanuel Charpentier, I invented a new technology for editing genomes. It's called CRISPR-Cas9. The CRISPR technology allows scientists to make changes to the DNA in cells that could allow us to cure genetic disease. You might be interested to know that the CRISPR technology came about through a basic research project that was aimed at discovering how bacteria fight viral infections. Bacteria have to deal with viruses in their environment, and we can think about a viral infection like a ticking time bomb. A bacterium has only a few minutes to defuse the bomb before it gets destroyed.
So again, what we're talking about today is being born compromised. And the foundational piece to this, which I again have estimated in my own opinion, I have no formal numbers to back that up, but it is my own estimation that probably 95% of us who have been born since the 1960s have been born compromised. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is that the sperm and the egg are the foundational pieces to a healthy human organism. And if the sperm and the egg of the parents, or either one of the parents, is compromised, then the human organism that is being produced by the union of that sperm and egg will have some compromised genes. And this doesn't mean that we will show up in a way that we are physically dismembered, or we can see some of those really known diseases, the autisms and things of that nature, or any deformity. What I'm speaking to is the mental and emotional health of the human organism is also tied into the sperm and the egg. And the foundation of that mental and emotional health is in the sperm and the egg, just like all the physical components of the body. And this is why I believe the escalation in mental health issues is at pretty much a all-time high and getting worse, with so many people dealing with so many subtle things that are still considered mental health issues: anxiety, depression, OCD, ADHD, all these things that have exploded onto the scene. This is in part, in my estimation, due to the compromised sperm and egg that many of us are carrying. Many of our parents, especially those who are under 50, are carrying compromised, toxic, chemically assaulted sperm and egg. So the chromosomes within the sperm and the egg, these things are starting off on a bad in a bad condition. And this is only going to lead to a compromised organism. And since this is the case, technologies like this gene editing could be of great benefit for many individuals. I know that she is likely talking about a lot of the physical aspects, but for me, and what I see is the mental and the emotional aspects of a compromised sperm and egg, which is creating the foundation for a compromised human organism that is birthed from the union of that sperm and egg. And these things are being showcased out in the open as we see. And again, there are other things that are playing major roles in this mental and emotional health crisis. But the foundational piece is the passing along of compromised sperm and egg, which are uniting and producing a compromised human organism. And if that human organism is never corrected with the small mental and emotional uh, situations that are going on from this compromisation, when they get into a relationship and reproduce life, they're only passing on those compromised genes, and things tend to get worse. And this is why I think the escalation in all the very damaging behaviors and the mental and emotional health crisis is at an all-time high. Of course, there are other things that can play into it and have played into it. A degenerative culture, many things that are facilitating and making these types of behaviors and these type of illnesses more prevalent and more on display. Of course, these things exist. However, the foundational piece again is the sperm and egg, the health thereof. And how do we make sure, especially those of you who are childbearing and who want to bring life onto this earth, you should definitely focus in on being healthy, because it's not just about being healthy, it's about the health of your offspring. And we're not talking about just the physical health, we're talking about the spiritual, the emotional, and mental health of that human organism. All of this is tied into the foundational pieces of the sperm and the egg. So, what are some things that we can do? We can really focus on eating a more natural diet, a more whole food diet. We can focus on getting rid of the GMOs, genetically modified organisms, those foods. We can focus on exercising intelligently. We can focus on minimizing the usage of pharmaceutical drugs when we can. Now, if your doctor has placed you on pharmaceutical drugs, then of course you need to consult with them. But there are natural remedies that are as effective as many of the pharmaceutical remedies without the side effects. So we must become more aware of those things as well. And this is why we must take control of our lives. We must become partners with our doctors and do so in a way where we're learning about these things that we need to learn in order to talk to your doctor intelligently about what's going on with your body, and not just take the cookie cutter approach of having them giving you medicines. Everything that is unnatural to the body that you and I consume has an effect on the body in a way that is going to eventually have to, or eventually cause damage. And this is one of the things we must understand. For high level coaching, hit me up. Peace.